Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Eminem Recovery Album Review, featuring your boy Holden and Stephan Roy.
And your lady friend Bonnie.
This is part 3 of this review because we've been jibber-jabbering so much going through each of the songs, track by track. So, we've already done 2 whole videos on this. So, in the first part, we introduced the whole thing, our experiences with the album, etc. Then we talk about the first 6 songs. And then the second part, we talk about the next 6 songs, present all sorts of fun album theories and stories and whatnot, in which case it's a little much to do to recap, so you should probably check out those reviews.
Yeah.
But if you just want to run through it, we're going to go through the rest of the 5 tracks on the album proper. I should say 4 tracks that are public on the track list of the album proper, and then the bonus ones.
Yeah.
Give our thoughts and opinions, and let you know what we think. So without further ado, it's so bad. That is so good. It's so bad. All right. Bonnie, why don't you talk first on like the rest of the songs so that I don't overpower it again like was done in the other reviews.
Sure. So yeah, this is sort of a lighter feeling song. It's a little less dramatic or whatever else. He's kind of like chuckling sort of, and like the beat is sort of like grandiose and goofy, like all at the same time. And this is sort of the story of his like come up and how he kind of ended up where he is. Discusses the issues, or that he has issues because of his family. And you know, we all know, if you know Eminem, we all know all about that. You know, his father abandoning and his crazy mom, and her, what was it called, where she thought that he was sick all the time or whatever.
Munchausen's syndrome. I don't really know how to say it, but I know it's that thing.
Yeah. So so he is basically saying that he is so good at being bad in real life and in his lyrics. Although sometimes like his behavior is different, like he's not always such a bad guy. But I mean, everything he learned is, or you know, everything that he is because of like his situation, and you know, every situation that he's been in, and is just, you know, he's I mean, he's probably, you know, if you think of it, like, you know, if he really was in like a really kind of crappy childhood and everything, he's in a pretty good place. Like, he's not in, I mean, unfortunately, he had been, you know, addicted to drugs and whatever. But he's in a pretty good place right now. So he's almost sort of like an abusive partner, where he's like kind of so bad at the beginning, or so good at the beginning, and then, you know, kind of like after like the honeymoon phase, you know, he's not so nice anymore, you know, once he's kind of got you, and you know, things have kind of gotten a little boring or whatever, and you know, just like that kind of story. And he kind of mentions that as well. And it's a pretty like catchy, fun, kind of bubbly song for like, I don't know, I guess saying that he has issues because of everything, but he's really not so bad. So I mean, this one is not bad. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely not bad. I like the chorus, and I like all the chicka-chickas, because, you know, throw back to like, you know, his earlier albums. So I gave this a 4.35 on 5.
Fair enough. So based on what I'm seeing on the Genius credits, at least, in terms of throwbacks, do you know who's on the production of this song that's a little throwbacky, but also not on the production of the previous tracks?
I think I read it, and I can't remember who it was.
Dr. Dre.
Oh, yeah.
Because so far there's been some Just Blaze, Boy to One, and a few other people.
Yeah.
But this one has some, and you can feel it even in the beat. Like, there's something about the heavier thumpiness to it that, like...
That's what Dre does.
Anyway. But I like this one again because I think it kind of demonstrates the relationship angle he's been playing. And it kind of, if you think about it, Eminem's career, or anybody's career, it is a two-way relationship where the artist will represent one half of that relationship, and then the media, the fans, everyone else is kind of the other half of that relationship. So the more that we've talked about the metaphor of this album so far, I've come to really be like into it in terms of it really makes me empathize with a lot more of I guess what people have had to deal with, or even just the criticisms. I mean, like when we started doing this, I feel like I was a lot more negative, and I guess over time I've tried to look for the more of the positive in things, just because it's like everyone's so critical, everyone's just trying to bash on shit, whereas I wonder how many people like realize how good Eminem is at storytelling through song sequencing, right? Anyway, so after going through another, like, you know, the 25 to Life, where it essentially has this commitment to hip hop and everything else, it almost feels like here he's compromising a little bit, and in the but like re-explaining who he is to everyone, like kind of reintroducing Slim Shady in more of a explanatory way. So like the backstory, I think, is what you're saying, which is you know, addressed, where he's like, but I like how he just. Even before the backstory, I'm the American dream. I'm the definition of white trash ballin'. And if you really like think about it, it's true. Eminem is a real rags to riches story.
Yep, absolutely.
A person from poverty who applied hard work, ethic, all the right things, and essentially created a 9-figure empire where he is absolutely so deep in the 1% that it's really obnoxious when he complains today. But back then, he was still building that up. And he was still, like, going through all sorts of stuff.
I mean,
where,
I think at this point he was pretty well established.
But he had gone through all sorts of crazy shit where still... But he's not complaining in the ways where you'd be annoyed with him for it. Like, he's not going, my life is hard. It's almost like he's explaining why he made bad choices on this album.
Okay, yeah.
And that's really easy to get behind because it feels redemption-like. It feels like, I don't care if he's rich here. I don't care about it because, damn, Eminem's doing some impressive stuff. And I say that in contrast to some of my more present views where if you really listen to the core subject matter of the last year's worth of Eminem's feature verses, not his albums, but the verses he was featured on, like every last one of them is him wanking on about his fucking career and how famous he is now or not. And I feel like with Eminem's position in life, record breaking after record breaking, it's kind of like I want to hear some more interesting stuff out of, like, I'm a huge fan of Revival, the album, which I know a lot of people are, because I feel like it's of the quality and concept and deepness and flow and stuff as this album is, to be honest. Whether or not you like the sounds, it's not the same thing as the writing.
Okay.
Whereas his verses are sounding really, really great, like the Logic verse or whatever, and everybody was really into it. But like when I heard it, I was like, it's not my favorite. It's kind of boring.
Yeah.
It's not that, like, it's just that what he's saying in these tracks is more interesting. Like, let me tell you the story of Shady's origin. You'll be sorry if you slam my Mercedes door again, which he's kind of like making out like he's with some person, jumping into his Benz, you know, taking advantage of him for his wealth, and they're not treating him correctly if he, like, slams the door. And I also kind of like the part, what you mean we ain't fucking? You take me for a friend? And then he's like, let me break down how this goes. Kind of like, at the same point, though, there would almost be like, when dealing with the media, when dealing with these people, how you not know how the fuck this goes by now? Are you serious?
Yep.
You get into freaking Mercedes-Benz with a stranger and you're not down to fuck is kind of his point. Like, what the fuck else do you think's going to happen now? And in the sense, you asked for Slim Shady, like, what the fuck else do you think is going to happen?
Yep.
So, you know, it all started with my father. He must have got my pimping genes from him, the way he left my mama. I'm a Rolling Stone just like him. Word to Johnny Drama. Keep my entourage with me, baby. You might not get that bar.
I never watched it, but like...
But Johnny Drama is part of the entourage. And Eminem, around this time, did a cameo role on Entourage where he punches Vinny Chase, I think it's Vinny Chase, in the face. And that was great, because I actually really liked Entourage. I never saw the movie, but I really liked the show. Till the end. Some of these shows should end sooner than they do.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's just like, kind of like, I'm a superstar girl. I'm ready for you, mama. Why you think the only thing I got on is my pajamas? But it's almost like Eminem's implying, listen, I'm ready for this tango. I'm so bad. I'm so good that I'm so bad. I guarantee I'll be the greatest thing you ever had. And if we talk about, like, the music and, again, this idea of him swooping in and fucking your girl, but, like, to other rappers and shit as a threat, like, this woman, this hip-hop prize is mine. Mm-hmm. In the same way, he's playing the game. Like, yo, I'm so suave that when I walk into the game, it's mine. I own it. And at this point, that's exactly what happened. Like, there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He walked in, he swept it all. This album, I believe, was very well received. And then, yeah, the next verse kind of flows in, and he does more of these kind of sex bars as he's, again, I think Eminem's actually single and fucking at this point. It's kind of a little bit inspiring, which is fun because we really don't get this from him a lot. Because usually his, like, girl songs are fucked up, but, like, the way Eminem lays game on this album really does show, I mean, just for how creative it is, how non-creative so much of the mainstream can really be when it comes down to the women tracks. And we honestly stopped reviewing a lot of these new guys because I was so bored with talking about the boring sex songs. Like, you're gonna drop a sex track at me, it better be fucking cool. And I mean that, like lyrically, like, but you want to find something more stable? I told you I ain't fooling from the gate. This ain't the first day of April Fools, but thank you for staying, April, because strippery type, you know, it's a strippery name, you know. In my opinion, I'm gonna make you learn to appreciate me, differentiate me from these phony little fishies and sissy fake G's. So again, it's back to that same point. So now instead of flossing at the other rappers about his game, he's moved past all that, gone through the whole thing, recommitted himself to it, and he's laying game on hip-hop now, basically pointing out that he's going to mac them and take it, and, you know, the industry's done. But then I think a couple of really important lines is at the end there. He goes, I told you I'm shady. You didn't listen now, did you? Again, I think that's calling back to relapse, which, as we went through in our nice long-ass review, was really his life story up until that point. Like, it is so well crafted as an art piece that if you can get past the part where most people don't like the music that much and really think about the story of it, it really tells his life story in such a drastic way. So he told us why he's shady right there, plus all the other tracks on his career. But, like, most specifically, I think this is following up the relapse. You didn't listen now, did ya? Again, he told us everything. Nobody really listened. Relax, woman. You know that I'm only kidding with you. Got a twisted sense of humor. It's warped, but I didn't hit you. I think you're finally starting to get the picture. I'm so bad. And he's again saying, yes, I'm going to say all this shocking shit, but do you really think this is real? Nah, it's entertainment, dog.
Yep.
Like, think about Sing for the Moment, you know? Like, he really breaks down that this is entertainment for the sake of paychecks and things like that. And yes, there's some reels that go on in life and all that stuff, but, like, Eminem isn't throwing acid in the face of people's and, you know, cutting people up with chainsaws. Like, it's not actually happening. In case you listening to this actually thought it was, it's not. So, like, with that, on the other end, the people who choose to fucking vilify him for it, there's something to be said about the sensibilities. Like, yo, why are horror movies allowed to have the same kind of hack and slash, whatever, go on, and it's all good in the hood to have guts flying over? Saw's a huge franchise. McDonald's does shit with Saw, you know? And then Eminem's problematic when his stuff is less graphic than what you'll see in a lot of the... Remember the Human Centipede?
I never watched the movie, but I definitely saw, like,
so that's
a few
okay,
people talking about the
but
trailer.
Eminem stuff's not okay. That's what I'm trying to say. And then, you know, the third verse, I get you caught up in the rapture. You may recapture the feelings you had for your last boyfriend before we slapped you. You know, kind of saying, you know, you might really get so caught up in this that it makes you remember, you know, the first rapper you had before he let you down or whatever, you know, your favorite thing. But now he's here, but I'm also so good, and I might be remind you of the danger and shit. But I'm not that, you know? You ever wanted someone so bad you're sweating? What if I'm what you wanted? Why'd you panic when I grabbed you? Girl, don't be so frantic. I'm just a hopeless romantic. Don't try to fight the feeling of something that's so organic. And he's just kind of, again, laying down game and doing his shit. And I don't have a lot more to comment on the rest of the track. But basically, I feel like it's clever. It fits the overall feel of the song.
Yep.
And all things considered, it's not my favorite. I don't really remember it from my youth because one of the things was, like, which songs do I actually remember from when I'm younger? And I don't really remember. Like, I knew it, like, when I heard it. So bad, I'm so good. Like, you know, it's a hook, and it's really catchy, and that might be one of my favorite parts of the track.
Is.
But you know what I don't really like as much as any of the other ones on the project?
What?
The beat. Like, I'm really not into the beat. The
Okay,
beat is
yeah.
the thing that keeps me. Eminem's sick, but if it was kind of a little bit more like seduction, yo, this would have been next level banger. But that hard hittingness isn't really sexy to the rest of the song.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
true.
takes. Dr. Dre isn't my definition of sexiness.
He
And I don't mean the way he looks. I mean,
he's sexy to M. I'll just say that.
That's not anyway. Still, it's a pretty great track conceptually, and I don't want to take away from that. And since my only grievance is a preference of the beat, it's still well done. But we can move in to Almost Famous, which
It's a pretty
is
good
a good
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
I was gonna anyway. Still at first.
I win.
We have Liz Rodriguez back for the second time on this project. Keep in mind, she's the vocalist on 25 to Life, and the original person who was supposed to sing the chorus Pink ended up singing over on Won't Back Down. So she's back because she's affiliated with Mr. DJ Khalil and his house band, I believe, and his music crew. So that's how she ended up getting into this album, actually.
Good for her.
You can take it away. This might be one of the ones I have the least to say about on this project.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say either. I mean, I really liked Liz Rodriguez. I thought she was great. He wants to be famous, and she is the one basically saying, like, I think literally, be careful what you wish for. And I think that's kind of where he's at now. He's kind of, risen to fame, and now he's kind of dealing with all the shit that comes along with that. There is no perfect life, folks. It all sucks. And I think that from like most famous people would say that it is a difficult thing to be famous, and it's not always easy, especially if you're not born into it. I think if you're born into it, I think maybe it's a different sort of thing, just because it just becomes another part of your life, and it's just there from day one. Like I'm just thinking of like the royal family or the Kardashians. Although I think that they weren't like kids when they.
I believe Kim had to have a certain thing happen before they really flipped it.
Right, maybe some of the younger ones. I don't know, but like you know what I mean, like people who've just been famous forever. Sarah, Kate, and Ashley. But anyways, they're.
Did you mean Mary Kate and Ashley?
Did I say, yeah, I said
You said Sarah Kate.
Because I was talking about a girl named Sarah Kate the other day. So yeah, that's what. Anyways, that's just what I was talking about. And see, so he's just having a difficult time dealing with all of like the fame and the realities and everything that comes along with it. Like I said, and he's just sort of saying like the world isn't ready for him, and he described like what he did to become famous and kind of like the steps he took. And now he's famous, and here he is. And at the same time, he's sort of a little bit regretting it. But I mean, I don't really think he's regretting it. I think he wants to be famous, but I think it's also difficult. That's it. Overall, I pretty much liked this one. It had some good rhymes. I really liked Gina on this one as well, and I thought she did a great job. I give this a 4.4 on 5.
So in the last track, he talked about how he told you about Shady's origins and we didn't listen. Oh shit, is this song not just the origin of Slim Shady if we really think about it? The hunger that brought him to that point.
Yep.
I mean, he starts off pretty strong. I stuck my dick in this game like a rapist. They call me Slim Roethlisberger, which is a reference to a specific, I think, athlete who had at that time been accused of rape, and I'm like, this is fucking obscure. And thank you, Genius. It is Genius Person. It is for Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, who apparently...
I feel like people know who the Pittsburgh Steelers are. Like, I've
like,
heard of them.
This is some dated obscurity to me.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't remember that even being a thing. But, again, I don't give a crap about... Is it this football, the Steelers?
It's football,
okay.
yeah.
I go berserker, then a fed up post office worker. I murk her with a Mossberg. I'm pissed off, get murdered. And it sounds like kind of back in the day when he's frustrated and he hates life. And I just kind of really enjoy the rhymingness. And you just, the post office worker has that stereotype of being pushed too far and snapping.
Yep.
I guess if there's rain and snow and sleet and shit, take a fucking day off is what they should have had in their motto.
Yep.
Maybe not. And then, for a gangster, you sure should shit your pants when you saw the chainsaw get to waving like a terrible towel. So it's almost like, I believe this isn't, I don't know if this is, Genius is saying it has something to do with some fucking football thing of waving flags. And if that's the case, I don't really know. But I just kind of picture his chainsaw shit because you did that for a minute. I don't know.
Okay.
I just like the way it flows. And then I feel like he's coming in with this intensity, how things turn around when his fangs come out, get your brains blowing out. That's when I call blowing your mind. Okay, fair enough. When I come back, like nut on your spine. I mean, yeah, because if there's no brain, I guess it's going there. I'm a thumbtack that you slept on, son. Now here I come screaming attack like I just stepped on one. Right? Because if you're really loud, like when you slap on a thumbtack.
Yep.
Anyway, it's all right. He just kind of comes in with like this intensity, and you just picture him in like the underground, like raging out and doing his thing until he's almost famous. And then it's almost like now thinking back is what I picture when the cook is coming in as she sings all this, like he's currently dealing with the consequences of fame and everything.
Okay.
And then she's singing about this, like, you want to be me. And he's like, be careful what you wish for.
Yep.
And then, I'm back for revenge. I lost the battle. That didn't happen again. This is in reference to him coming in second place in the rap Olympics. I'm at your throat like strep. I step strapped with a pen. That's a cool line because you get strapped throat. And he steps with a pen ready to go. But in this part, it's clearly the point of between Infinite and Slim Shady LP. Because he's going on about his shit and how cool he is. Y'all are Eminem backwards, you're mini-me's. I hated that line because it's many-me backwards, not many. Anyway, I know I'm being a stickler. But, so he's just kind of pointing out how good he is. But then he gets to the end there. You're full of it. You were dissing at his CDs, laughed at Infinite, which is kind of what happened. He put out Infinite, which is actually a really great album. And people were kind of goofy with it and didn't really like it much. So now he's back like someone pissed in his Wheaties. No peace treaties, turned into a beast. His new Slim Shady EP got the attention of the mighty DRE. He's almost famous. And if you think about it, it's the rejection of everything made him kind of snap, really embrace the crazier shit. Like that Bonnie and Clyde sounds a little intense, we can say. We got Dre's attention. He's almost famous. Then the third verse is just literally him rapping about the excitement of like fucking spitting shit and then blowing the fuck up. And then he ends on there's some fun lines in here, I'll be honest with it. Like get off my dick, get off my anti-disestablishmentarianism or whatever the fuck it is as he gets real
Disestablishmentarianism.
I think that might actually that's in the second verse when he goes now get off my dick. Dick's too short of a word for my dick. Get off my anti-disestablishmentarianism, you prick. It's a good line. But in the third verse, just with the scars to Abraham Lincoln screaming out, these metaphors and similes ain't similar to them, not at all. If they don't like it, they can all get fucked. Instead of sucking them off, they can go get a belt and a necktie to hang themselves by. Like David Carradine, they can go fuck themselves and just die. Do you know why that line is great, everyone? Because all building up to the alternatives to sex is the ultimate form of where you probably should not try this, but autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yep.
When you tie a belt around your head, you're supposed to put a lemon in your mouth so that when you bite down, the lemon juice, in case you pass out or whatever.
That's an interesting thing.
Then you sit there and you basically strangle yourself as you rub it. And as you nut, you bite down a lemon, wakes you up, and you're ready to go. And it's supposed to be like ethereal. Like it's supposed to be 100 times the orgasm of whatever.
It's not worth it.
I mean, I'm not really that interested in strangling myself to fucking come, but that's how David Carradine went. And he's Bill from Kill Bill. And so the way it builds up to that, I just
there was I think him and like a few others kind of all happened around the same time.
And then he fucked himself and died. And that's why that line's amazing. And neat shit. Anyway, and then it kind of builds up to the final point. So bear witness to some biblical shit. There's a cold wind blowing, which kind of represents him and his force or whatever. This world ain't going to know what hit it. He did it. He made it. He's finally famous. And it just kind of ends out on a strong note. I think it's a cool track, but I'm also, again, not really into the beat. It's like the second choppy orchestral sounding shit we've gotten. What I mean by choppy, I mean like literally it sounds like the beat is choppy in its rhythm to us, and it's cool and stuff. But the way it just builds up and whatnot, it did not sit 100 with me. It's not been a song that like I remembered. Like this one, when I saw it on the track list, I'm like, what the fuck is Almost Famous sound like? Like I couldn't remember at first. Inevitably it came back to me, but like I find it to be a forgettable track. Not because of Eminem. I feel towards this song the way everyone probably felt towards Revival as an album. The track is in theory great, except for the part where they don't really enjoy the sound of it because of the beat choice. And I'm feeling like it's a bold beat choice. It's risky. And M delivers this insane amount of cool rhythms, and honestly the story's even very engaging. But I don't like the beat that much. So I'm stuck with a 4.25 because I recognize all the talent of the writing, and based on how the beat's only a part of a bigger picture, even the mixing's tight. But 4.25.
All right. Well,
What happened after he was famous? For the story, he met Kim. Love the Way You Lie.
featuring Rihanna.
Kim. So if you were to go back a decade and say, will you listen to this song forever? I'd have said, yeah, for sure. But then on the next album, Eminem and Rihanna did a different song that was so similar, and I don't know if it was like better or not, but it kind of diluted the impact of this particular track. But you not remember how a couple of years later, I'm friends with the monster that's under my and honestly,
But I think that one was on her album,
nope,
right?
that was on Marshall Mathers
Oh,
LP
really?
2.
Okay.
So it's on his next album. What she had was Love the Way You Lie, the better. I know I'm saying this, but the version of the song I think is actually a little bit better is the one on Rihanna's version where Eminem does the one verse, and it's pretty strong.
Okay.
Because there's two versions of Love the Way You Lie. There's part 2, I think it's called. What's super nifty about it is that Skylar Grey wrote this song, and this is the very beginning of like Eminem's infatuation with Skylar Grey turning him into a pop star. Because she wrote so much shit on Revival, it's ridiculous. Like how much like they've worked together or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's also Dina Ray, who has a whole song. Dina Ray is from like the old Eminem albums because he just stopped working with her, and it's rumored that they fucked and it got weird. It's rumored, it's not certain. But Dina Ray dissed Eminem on Wax and shit. Like I've looked into some of these backstories because like I guess this I got to through my Eminem groupie googling because at some point I said I googled his groupie life because I want to know, does Eminem smash the groupies? If he does, he does not get caught. That's all I can tell you.
Good for him.
But yeah, what do you think about Love the Way You Lie and its corny ass music video?
You know I love this one. This is like an epic song as far as I'm aware. And this is like based off of like most of what we've seen, this is the only like hit like that I was aware of off of this album. Like that got like radio play and was like everywhere. Like this was the song that was off of this album that was everywhere. And like Riri can really just do no wrong. Like she's great. And plus like the song is like raw and intense, and Skylar's story behind it, like it was based off of like, something that she had gone through with a guy and it just worked, and like the whole like timing.
Skylar was very much inspired by the music industry too.
Oh, I don't know. I read something where she had gone through like an abusive relationship.
Yeah, it was both of those things. You're right, but I was just wanted to add in that it was also correlated to her love-hate relationship with the industry.
That's fair. I mean, like, I feel like Love the Way You Lie can either mean sort of like lying dead, like you're just like dead, and you're laying there, or they've just been like everyone's just become so like used to the lies that the other person is telling, like they're just love the way you lie, in that sense. So I mean, I think it could be both. It's the beat, I really like this one. I think it's really great. The whole song is basically like emotional, like ups and downs, and she won't let him die, and like they're both abusive, and M is angry, and like this is around the time, or I guess a little bit after, obviously, that Riri was dealing with like the whole Chris Brown situation and like how he was abusive to her and how the paparazzi caught it, and there's pictures of like him basically hitting her and stuff like that. And then the issues between M and Kim, and like how like that was just like a hot mess, and like how there was a lot of tension between those two, and it's a love-hate kind of situation. It's it's either all or nothing sort of, it seems to be, and how the abuse is just sort of constant, and clearly both of their relationships were explosive and not great, and there was a lot of issues and abuse. So I think this one was really important to the fans because it felt really real, especially even like the whole thing, with Skylar's being the writer here and her talking about her relationship, and you're gonna say with music, but like issues that she's dealt with, and we've all publicly seen Riri and M, and it's just like the whole thing all kind of coming together, and everybody kind of knows what's up when you listen to this song, or they did in whatever 2010 when this came out. Maybe the kids today don't know, but I think it also gave a voice for people kind of like dealing with relationships like this as well. Like it was kind of like there, maybe it gave people a chance to realize like this like the situations that they're in. Maybe they're not the greatest. How can they like leave? And other people are going through this. Look, even Eminem and Rihanna are going through similar situations. So it is sort of like an opening of that sort of like topic for public awareness. So I think this one was an epic hit. Like I said, I think the chorus was really great. I think Skylar did a great job on that. I give this a 5 out of 5. This is like my favorite song off of the album.
So before we talk about anything, sometimes Eminem goes on Genius, and he leaves the stupidest fucking comments. So on the part where he comments chorus Rihanna, artist Eminem says, "You should hear me do this song in accents. It's way better." And you're just like, what the fuck? Like, obviously you don't change Eminem's Genius annotation. You leave it.
Yep.
And people come to it, and literally everyone in the comments is kind of like, what the fuck? like, what is this? Anyway, I've lived through this relationship more than once in my life, and so, like, this shit is just real. And I think that's what it is that from the perspective of being a guy who has treated girls I've dated like absolute shit, that's the thing, is you can connect to it, right? And I guess in a sense, you're able to, well, both see yourself, but what's really important about this song is I believe that on Rihanna's side, you get the part where you hear what the girl's kind of feeling, right? Mm-hmm. And so, in a sense, I've had women be like, I love the way you lie when it comes down to how I'm going to be better tomorrow. And then you do fall into these places where everything gets kind of broken and whatever. But everything from the beginning of this, like Eminem's like, I can't tell you what it really is. I can only tell you what it feels like. And right now there's a steel knife in my windpipe. I can't breathe, but I still fight while I can fight. As long as the wrong feels right, it's like I'm in flight. Right there, you're like, wow, that is like this compact situation of anxiety, of like uncertainty, of recognizing that the shit in this relationship is not right. It isn't a good thing, but it feels right. So you push it. And that's the thing about bad relationships. And I can say that in most situations where I was in bad relationships, I'm probably the aggressor that not in all of them, there was one I was not, but in all but one, I'm basically the aggressor that took that shit into toxic land, and I'm willing to admit that now, right? But you can definitely say shit like high for love, drunk from her hate. I mean, in psychology, there's that principle where abusive relationships make sense because there's some bullshit where, I don't know how to properly describe it with all the terms you would read in the books, but there's highs and lows, right? Mm-hmm. And basically when you bash somebody to fuck down to that low, and then you lift them up, so when you beat her and then you buy her a nice present, the high she gets off of that is actually like ridiculously like getting high. And you become addicted to that pattern of back and forth. And then you get high off the love and you get drunk from the hate. because you're into both this emotional swings. And it really reminded me of the true psychology behind abusive relationships. You know, it's like I'm huffing paint and I love her the more I suffer. I suffocate and right now I'm about to drown. She resuscitates me. She fucking hates me and I love it. Wait. Again, that back and forth negative, constant love-hate crap, man. It's just the way he delivers it. Every line with this passion, like, where you going? I'm leaving you. No, you ain't. Come back. We're running right back. Here we go again. It's so insane because when it's going good, it's going great. I'm Superman. And it's like the way he like flips in almost happiness and joy. When like 3 lines before it, she's fucking out the door and shit.
Yep.
But when it's bad, it's awful. I feel ashamed. I snapped. Who's that dude? I don't even know his name. I laid hands on her. I'll never stoop so low again. I guess I don't know my own strength. And you're just like, so I never hit a girl? That's something I can say I did not do. I have verbally abused some fucking people in my life, but I never hit one. But like, just to have a dude so bluntly say it, he hit her. You know, I'll never do it again. But to have a man in that position with shame admit that hitting a woman like that when you're mad and turbulent, it's not okay.
Yeah.
You know, like, I guess I don't know my own strength. Like, you don't even realize how hard you fucking hit her when you look at her fucking smashed up face after. Kind of like the pictures of Rihanna after what Chris Brown did. Guess what? That guy's back popping and fucking bitches all over.
Yep.
We let him in. I don't know.
I feel like there was such like a protest like about him like coming back and like making like music again, and then it just happened, and then nobody cares anymore. They're all just like, oh well.
On the one hand, you have to ask a question: does redemption exist, and can we grant redemption for things?
Yeah.
And is smashing Rihanna's face a decade ago enough to keep you at the game forever? All things considered, maybe not forever.
Yeah.
If he never did it again. And this is something I'm curious about your thoughts on, because I think about this kind of stuff. I don't know
if he's okay now.
I don't know if he is. I can't say yes or no about his behavior. What I can say is if Chris Brown has been a good boy as far as domestic violence is concerned and treating women with the basic monicum of respect you're supposed to at an individual level, if in this case he exchanges money for sex, it's included in respect at this point, and he doesn't do that type of shit again forever, ever, ever, why is he out of the game then? Then redemption doesn't exist, and none of us can be forgiven for our sins. And not to go so, like, biblical on it, but on the other hand, if he doesn't learn the lesson, boycott that motherfucker. That would be, like, kind of how I look at the situation. But it is, I remember the fervor to which he was banned, and for a while, yeah, you should probably go in the timeout box.
Yeah.
Anyway, second verse, Eminem's verse, comes in, and you gotta keep in mind the chorus, just the way, love the way you lie. It's just like, it's soft. It's almost like she's smashed down. It's just, she's accepting the reality of it, like lying to herself to it. And I'd never once heard it like lying down. It was always, I love the way you lie, because
I mean, I think that's what it is.
In the relationship
but I think it could also mean, like,
I'm currently in, we haven't indulged in a lot of the lying to each other.
Yeah.
In fact, I could be accused of maybe being too honest about certain things. But lying is something I avoided, because lying was something I engaged in with like everybody else, and it led to a lot of shit, to the point where she'll love the way you lie.
Nah,
she will.
I wouldn't though.
We're not kids, and you weren't there. You ever love somebody so much you can barely breathe when you're with them? Like, just that line, when he delivers it, you're like, yes, I have. And when you meet and neither one of you know what hit him, got that warm, fuzzy feeling, he had him chills, used to get him, now you're getting fucking sick and looking at him. Yep, been there, lived that, done that, probably been more the one she's sick of looking at. You swear you'd never hit him, never do nothing to hurt him. Now you're in each other's faces, spewing venom in your words when you spit him. Very much lived that shit, very much been there. And so, like, hearing these words, like, as far as Eminem's honesty and women's songs and shit, this ranks super fucking high in my opinion. Like, it is, as far as this might be the pinnacle of his relationship songs, because this is the most everything else he did sounds goofy by comparison to the level of, like, intensity of you push, pull each other's hair, scratch, claw, bit him, throw him down, pin him, so lost in the moments when you're in him, miss the rage that took over, it control you both. And you're like, yeah, shit. I mean, whether you've seen it on TV, whether you've seen it happen, whether it's your parents, whether you've seen this shit, okay? Most of us have seen this shit. And if you haven't, it exists and you should educate yourself. I don't know, man. Like, the vivid imagery of it, like, you can tell he's lived this. He's had these physical altercations with probably Kim. I'm assuming that part. So they say it's best to go your separate ways. Guess that they don't know you, because today, that was yesterday, and yesterday is over. It's a different day. It sound like broken records playing over. And that's the part where, like, your relationship should have ended. And it didn't.
Yep.
And now you're just, whatever, going through it, the motions, and it gets probably worse and stuff. But the way he plays with days and how the days kind of fade there, it's just amazingly written on top of amazingly impactful. And I know this is maybe sounding almost Stanish with it, but I used to be a very bad person in how I treated people, and so the level of guilt and shame he has in this song is something I've lived through. You know, you don't get another chance. Life is no Nintendo game, but you lied again. Now you get to watch her leap out the window. Guess that's why they call it window pane.
Classic.
That is literally one of the most beautiful and powerful lyrics I've ever heard. It's like right up there with Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. Yeah, I could play just like, it's right up there and hit you in the feels with that one.
Yeah.
And it's like, because again, I've lied again. I've lied that one time and watched her leave out the metaphorical window pane, because usually I don't look out fucking windows like that. I'm not really that level of corny. Plus, I come from the era where you can break up over Facebook and text messages. And yes, that shit happens, because why the fuck does she want to see your ugly ass again?
I guess.
And then there's the last verse. Now I know we said things, did things that we didn't mean. Then we fall back into the same patterns, same routine. And I'm like, yes, because you think it's over at that last part. No, it's not. You're probably going to keep dating, and you're probably going to come at that level of apology, that level, because his tone shifts, and those words come out of my mouth almost. But your temper's just as bad as mine, Nancy, the same as me. When it comes to love, you're just as blinded. Baby, please come back. It wasn't you. Baby, it was me. And he just builds up with his voice there. Maybe our relationship isn't as crazy as it seems. And you're just like, now they're like trying to rationalize the emotional conflict of this turbulent relationship. Maybe that's what happens when a tornado meets a volcano. All I know is I love you way too much to walk love you too much to walk away, though. And then it kind of goes to the point where you realize he's saying this shit as she's walking out. And this is the whole... Actually, I didn't even realize that. This is the first time I realized. This is the shit that's happening as she's walked out. She's left the window pane, and now he's running out after her. I know for everything. I never even made that connection. I just related so much. But, yeah. Come inside. Pick up your bags out the sidewalk. Don't you see sincerity in my voice when I talk? Told you this is my fault. Look me in the eyeballs. Next time I'll pistol in my fist at the drywall. Like, it's just you hear it, man. It's like the level of desperation.
Yeah.
I'm willing to say and do anything. But this time, your lies don't work anymore. And she's leaving you. That's what's actually going on. Next time, there won't be a next time. Right? Because he's going to do so much better. I apologize, even though I know it's lies. Yeah, that's the real truth of it, is if you're especially looking at it in retrospect, all the bullshit that she'll tell her is not real. Not you. Other girls in the past. Man, I don't know, man. I'm tired of the games. I just want her back. I know I'm a liar. At a certain point in my life, it's like I felt all of this to the point of deciding to become a better person, right? But I've also felt that if she ever tries to fucking leave again, I'm gonna tie her to the bed and set this house on fire. Just gonna stand there. Okay, I know I can't sing. And then it just plays out on that, and this is an emotional it is not the most emotional experience I've gotten from Eminem,
No.
but it ranks. No, because I think my number one might be on the next album, Marshall Mathers LP 2, so we'll have to wait to get there. And that means of all of them, but it's like right there with like,
I mean, we
Sing for
definitely
the
have
moment
had
emotions.
a huge range of emotions from him. So for me to say, oh, this is his most emotional song, when you listen to something like Kim, like that's clearly an emotional song. And if you listen to Stan, like that's also another emotional song. And
yeah,
like,
but this one feels more
this
emotional.
This is also very emotional. Yes.
We can have different opinions on the level of emotionals, okay? We don't have to fucking agree.
All
with me.
the emotions.
I'm not saying that he's not versatile. He doesn't pour his heart and soul into everything and all that. He does not pour his heart and soul into everything. But I'm not saying all of that. What I'm saying is this song in particular has a degree of self-awareness to it that I don't know is so in his career. Like, this song is an important song for a lot of people, I think, because how often do you have a man admitting that his violent actions is the reason she left and it's his fault? And so the song trails through all the excuses and all the words and all of this until he realizes she's gone and it's over. And I don't know. Then he's going to kill her and burn the house down because he's Eminem, but that's exactly what it feels like when she leaves. I don't know. It's a 5 on 5 to me. It's masterfully done. But something happened in my life. Both Monster came out, which I felt, again, diluted it. And then I ended up not being heartbroken for half a decade. So, it's a little bit hard to fully appreciate this. But sometimes when I'm thinking about my past, a song like this song, when, like it really hits. Plus, I know it by heart, so I can spit the whole thing, and that makes it a little more fun. Any song I can sing along to, absolutely going to give it a spin and a playthrough.
Yep.
It's a beautiful track. And then I guess it leads into, because what's crazy about it is just, again, the self-awareness and maturity. And just for the sake of the story, I know I've spent some time on this track, but it's that good to me. But if we take the whole point of the story, it's like he explained his whole life. Almost Famous culminates to him explaining one more time how shady he came to be. And then both in the sense of, so if we take the double entendre of the relationship, this is more about Kim or his way he treats women, but it's also maybe a little bit of understanding how he took from hip-hop and how he maybe treated it poorly after all when all was said and done. I don't know if that's true, but it seems fitting to have this self-aware, my actions have consequences song at the end of the love story with hip-hop thing. And then it kind of culminates on the last track, the beautiful dedication of Proof. You're never over. Yeah, I did not like this track a lot when I was young. I was wrong. This shit's pretty fucking good. It's not like Love the Way You Lie good. And you could even argue this has more emotion. I would argue it's a different emotion and that the other emotion is more on my scale of intensity.
Okay.
But man, right, okay, you should go first so that I don't just do the whole song.
Well, you're still gonna do the whole song, but anyways, basically, like, this is definitely the Proof song, like the final one, and kind of saying like I think he's kind of moved past it now. Like he's kind of dealt with the fact that he's passed away, that he's no longer there. And I think that he's kind of like, on the other side of that now. And so he's kind of saying like Proof would be proud of me now. Like, and he wants to do something that would cause Proof to be proud of him. So I think that that's very nice. I like that a lot. I think that's great brotherly love. So missing him and doesn't have another friend like him. Was his friend since he was a kid. So, I mean, these are like, long, lifelong buddies, and to lose that, it's a huge deal. And we'll never forget his friend. Like, it's a little bit cheesy, but it's honest, and he really just wants to impress his fallen friend with this song and just, make it all about him and celebrates his life. And he's obviously still going through like the grieving process and still, dealing with it, but he's, he's, like I said, he's on the other side of that now. And he talks about how Proof was always there. giving him inspiration and believing in Eminem and, you know, being like honest with him and everything. And he has dreams about him, which is really not that uncommon when people pass away or are no longer in your life to have dreams about him, you know. And he dedicates this song to him. And how he, you know, Proof helped him get through his near-death overdose that he had. Also, like he came back to life. Because, you know, yes, it was Haley calling, but kind of Proof was kind of pushing him, you know, from the other side, I guess. So I think that's very nice. That's, you know, like I said, that's brotherly love. It's a very it's dedicated to Proof. It's very Proof heavy, I guess. But it's very nice. It's just about a good friendship. So I gave this a 4.5 on 5.
I think there's a definite part of your relationship with Eminem's nasally singing is going to highly impact your enjoyment of this, because
but I think that the
days
message
are cold living without you, and I'm not
great, but
actually trying to make fun of it. I'm trying to actually illustrate that that's what it is. Like, and it don't stop, and it don't quit. I actually think I sing as well as Ev does on this track. That's what I'm trying to say. As in, it's not good, but I think it needed to be a little bit more like that, right? Because it's just like,
it's more real.
It's like, but it's also like Eminem is sitting there and he's just singing at Proof, like pouring his heart out. It's not about you or me or what's good or what's bad.
Yeah.
It's about singing this ode to his friend and then dropping possibly 2 of the illest rhythms on this album. I can't call them the best verses, but the rhythms are the illest as far as like they're fun. And the beat's just so triumphant. Just Blaze just fucking kills it with that. Like it builds up.
Yeah.
I mean, from the beginning, you just feel it. Like, if Proof could see me now, I know he'd be proud. Somewhere in me deep down, there's something in me he found that made him believe in me and no one can I don't know the whole fucking flow. But anyway, that made him believe in me, no one can beat me now. You try, it'll be the Doors on Dre's Phantom, believe me, clowns. And to be honest, if he didn't have the next line, I'd have no fucking idea what he means because I'm not a car person. But the doors on a Phantom are clearly suicide doors because he goes, that's suicide, homie. And I think suicide doors is literally the stupidest thing I've ever fucking heard. They are cool. I just think the term's stupid. You'll never throw me off this chorus, blow me. Bitch, I do this all for the sport only, but I want it all. And then he kind of flows in a little bit about his craving to kind of come back in and take over, and he's back in a sense, like the whole first verb. And then so y'all can just get to blogging about baloney, and I'm not gonna stop. The saga continues. No stopping the force, Obi. You were wrong, Em. We'd be podcasting one day. I bet you didn't see that coming, that the bloggers would become podcasters and YouTube reviewers. Blogging is a dying industry, and for some reason corporations spend a shit ton of money to produce fucking written blogs, and they don't spend any money on podcasts. Like fucking morons. Anyway, but I just like how he ends it, man. Mopping up the floor with them. I keep trying to pass it, but they keep on dropping the torch, and it won't be long till the sport is OVER. You know, like, he is the greatest, and nobody else can hold a candle to him.
Yep.
And then the second verse is kind of like, I'm gonna no longer... Well, first of all, for you, I want to write the sickest rhyme of my life. Like, shit, man. Like, you inspire me to be better. So sick it'll blow up the mic. I'll put the dynamite. I like it because dynamite blows up.
Yeah.
But really, the rest of this verse looks at how instead of using pills and other things to numb himself to the loss of his close friend, he's going to rap and be better and achieve greater things instead of succumbing to the darkness as he had previously done. And I just think it's incredible. And you already touched about how he kind of really goes into depth about how Proof as a guardian angel saved his fucking life, and he's grateful to it. And please don't think that I don't feel grateful. I do. Just grant. And then he's talking to God, and grant me the strength that I need for one more day to get through. And it's just like, wow, Eminem on this whole crazy thing, ending an album basically saying, God, I'm thankful, I'm grateful, please give me the strength. It's basically the Serenity Prayer, in a sense, for one more day to get through. So, homie, this is your song. I dedicate this to you. I love you, Duty. And for some reason, Eminem and Proof both call each other Duty. Whatever. And then the song just kind of ends. and you're left with like, a, wow, that is like really beautiful and a really amazing, serious song. And it's like, that was definitely not Slim Shady. That was Marshall talking to his friend.
Yeah.
And I think when we don't, I think the Marshall songs, not the Eminem and not the Slim Shady ones, but the Marshall songs, as infrequent and rare as they are truly some of the most divine parts of Eminem's catalog.
That's very true, because they're very pure and from, they are him. They're from his heart and from his soul, and it's real, true experiences.
Like that's the thing about Revival, from what I remember of it, because it has been a while since I heard it, but it felt a lot more like Marshall was talking to us than either Eminem or Slim Shady. And I think that was something I appreciated on that project. Anyway, we're not done yet. There's some bonus tracks to talk about. The first one has no name. It's called Untitled. Like right off the jump, you can feel like, yeah, it makes sense why this is a bonus song. Like it makes sense. Like it's a very good song, but this, like the story's done. Like the last, For You're Never Over, it fits into the story because after the self-acknowledgement of all the bad behavior, a dedication of proof, I'm going to be the best I can be and keep moving forward. And to be fair, Marshall Mathers LP2, spoiler alert, I really think he lived up to what he promised. Anyway, what do you think about this track?
I mean, I like the mixing on this one, and I really like the use of You Don't Own Me, which I remember the most from like the very last scene in the first Wives Club, which I then made him watch, and I don't really think you enjoyed it at all.
No, the movie's trash. Like the first Wives Club is like straight man bashing for women who are mad at their ex-husbands and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it like the women need
watching it with like today's lens as opposed to like watching it like back in the day, it is a little bit kind of like it's a bit much, but
I mean, but it's not a bit much if you were a divorcee. If I had just like cheated on you and fucked a young thing and left you,
guess so.
You would be all about that movie in some way that you could not relate to today because I have at least
maybe
like I haven't done that, so you don't feel.
I'm gonna get your Mercedes and your Porsche and whatever
I don't have
else.
that. We got to get them to give us more money. Then we can talk
I
about
don't
how
think it's
I'm
gonna
paying
quite get there. But anyways, the beat is good on this one.
I just don't want a Porsche. Porsche?
Fine. That's fine. Nobody even knows how to say it. So
somebody's hitting that up in the comments.
I think he definitely likes South Park because he's talked about South Park and particularly Kenny on a few of his songs, including this one. So I like that. I appreciate that. I am a South Park fan. So this one is like just more overall of like a goofier kind of a song. I mean, I suppose it's like a fun way, to like continue on with the album and just kind of have like, a bit of fun, even though it's like just a bonus track, and I think that he will just keep doing what he does and, and it can be dramatic and emotional and, intense and like all those other things, but it can also be, him just having a gay old time. So I give this a 4.2 on 5.
So apparently this track, it doesn't show up on the track list, and it was found when people played Recovery on a loop. It started this hidden track. I don't know how hidden it actually was on the CD. I don't remember if there were 17 tracks and then just 16 on the label, or if they did one of those cheeky things on hidden tracks. But if you do check on this channel, I made a video. One of my I tried to do a video essay thing, videos on the history of hidden tracks and how basically the end of the story is Spotify killed the hidden track. That's the truth of it, because you can't fucking hide a track no more, and it's better for you to just put the hidden track as a real track. But man, there's some cool shit they would do. Here's a fun little side anecdote then. National Lampoon knew that its fan base enjoyed marijuana, and so it knew it would have a bunch of stoned people. So they had an album, and they recorded side A, and it was all the same thing. But when you flipped it, there was side B and C, but they were both on the other side of it. So depending on specifically where your needle hit, it would play one version, and then it would play a separate version. And so you would hear the second side, you would call up your friends and be like, yo, what the fuck? check this out, it's exciting. And then they would have a completely different experience than you on their first listen, because they would have gotten the other side. And so you would have half the people who had heard one, and they were both there, and it was just random. So then you'd go play it again and it would be something completely different. Now imagine
That's cool.
you're a stoned young person doing this. I mean, it was an amazing troll. National Lampoon, I imagine
That's
they
what
were
they do.
quite fun back in the day, whereas I don't think their comedy style works so well in 2019.
Yeah, it's not the 70s anymore.
Second amazingly remarkable thing about this track is the producer, Havoc of Mobb Deep, which I thought was pretty cool. And then, I don't know, that sample comes in, and then she made me watch the shitty movie, and I didn't really get the fuck she was talking about when she said, see, it's this song. And I'm like, this movie sucks. So I wasn't really feeling the song. It's really like, there's a lot of chick flicks I can deal with, but this was no Notebook. This was just like, fuck men. They're assholes. I mean, okay. I guess so.
That's what I grew up on.
And then the hero women save the day and make a shelter for other women, and all your men were assholes, you guys were real women. And it's like, okay, fuck out of here, this lame ass movie. Anyway, the rhythm on this is fun and crazy. Like, it's got this fast pace, like, girl, I think you might have just tried to pull a motherfucking fast one, I'm mad. And it's got like this, and it fits the cadence, and he flows like that the whole way through, and he just kind of makes a bunch of weird, those more sex creepier vibes, like, you know, trying to play games, see the saw blades, see the silhouette of a stalker in your walkway, better cooperate or get sauteed or rotisserie while your hogtied MCs get so quiet. Maybe not just sex shit, but like, you know, he's doing his violence thing. He's being very Slim Shady-esque. He's coming out there like, motor so big, you can fit a midget in his engine. Bitch, give me them digits. Why you cringing? Not by the hair on my chinny chin chin. Oh, and he'd previously rhymed that with the vrin vrin earlier, and it's kind of in that thing.
Yeah.
It's like a series of amazing lines, though, like eeny meeny miny mo, catch an Eskimo by his toe while he's trying to roll a snowball. Don't make him lose his cool. If he hollers, better let him go, y'all. And in that, he's talking about himself. Because he's from the north and shit. He the white boy in hip-hop. Don't fucking piss him off. He's going to go off.
Yep.
And then the, you don't owe me. Now here we go. And it's kind of, again, it feels like Eminem lashing out at the industry. And it almost, in a sense, feels like it's taken on a role of something like Won't Back Down or On Fire. What it was trying to be.
Okay.
But, like, it doesn't kind of fit as well. Or maybe he felt it was going to go a little too far. Because of stuff like, and now that I got your panties in a bunch and your bowels in an uproar, that meant he fucked you in the ass. I'm going to show you why I came, because he fucked you in the ass. So you stop asking what the fuck for. Well, he's coming. He's coming to fuck you, in my opinion, in the ass. Now look, you little slut cunt whore. I like the way he does it. I fucking love swearing like that. I know I'm not allowed to. I know these words are inappropriate, but gosh, it's fun, and I miss saying those languages. The UK people get to say cunt all the time, and it's okay. It's just the Americans who can't do it. But it's just on to put the math back into Mathers, because I'm a fucking problem. He made a math bar out of his name.
Well, duh.
That's awesome and terrible all at the same time. But I really, like, here's the thing. I really enjoy the track from a flow perspective and whatnot, but it really is just witty bars, and it does have the deeper conceptual point where I think he, again, is showing his ferocity, showing what he's capable of and stuff. But, like, it also doesn't really fit the story that well. It just kind of feels like an anecdote, like an appendix to it. Like, and for further information on the intensity of Slim Shady, see the Untitled track. And I think it's pretty cool. Also, get up, baby, get a move on like a U-Haul is a pretty great line.
Yep.
And that's what this song is. Well, here I come, Havoc on the beat, I wreck it. Yeah, because Havoc made the beat and Eminem wrecked it. And because Havoc is into destructive things and you wreck shit. I don't know. It's alright. I mean, I like it in the sense that I would like actually put this on and bump it because I think it's pretty fun. But he has a lot of really fun songs, so it's not my highest prioritized fun song. But if I were to make a fun, goofy Eminem, intense, quick shit playlist, this would probably make it. Like, I could actually see this working at a party more than some of his other songs. Not every party, but I could see it being kind of a nice background music vibe.
We'll give it a try sometime.
I give it a 4.35. I'm okay with it not being on the album. Even though I like it more than some of the album songs, I love the story of the album, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, the album's done and the story's complete, it feels full. And this just feels like some
That's a
bonus.
good way to describe it.
Right? And then I'm kind of glad this was maybe not part of the album proper, even though it was technically on the disc. Do you have more to comment on this one?
Nope.
Well, let's talk about Ridaz.
Ridaz.
I don't think I ever heard this before. Like, I don't think I ever heard Ridaz by Eminem before, like, we did this review. I don't know. I'm assuming you haven't also heard it, but what do you think about this track?
I feel like, I don't know, either it was the end of the album or I just really didn't have that much to say about it. I just felt like this one was just like a little bit goofy. And like how he's like very cocky and how that tends to start issues with other guys, which is normal. Guys like butting heads sort of. And he's attacking others and he's coming at it and like he's like with his like D12 crew, so he's like shouting them out again. I don't know. I really don't have too much to say about this, and I imagine you'll probably go like super in depth. So I gave this a 4 on 5.
Well, I definitely have no like deep connection to this
Yeah.
track. So like I just heard it for the first time, and my initial thoughts are
It's okay.
that beat's ridiculous.
It kind of reminded me of
It's
California Love.
So here's the thing: it's a Dr. Dre beat, which makes
It sounds like California, but it sounds like
maybe
altered, obviously.
it could be that it's similar samples, but it just feels like fight music in the tone and the feel
but
of
that's
it.
what it's supposed to be. I mean, that's kind of what it's about. It's about,
And I like fight music. I like fast, aggressive music. I like it. So it really hits something in me that I like a lot more than, say, Untitled, which is more goofy.
right.
And we didn't really get a whole bunch of this on this album. Eminem fucking going in like this. Like, this sounds like legitimately he wants to fucking Fight Club you. Like it's a Chuck Palahniuk fucking book. You feel like you want to hit something. Your fist clenches. You're pissed. You just want to get someone with shit jump on this. You're about to get your shit pushed in. And it's like stuff for when you're feeling pent off, when you're feeling like you just want to smash some shit. Honestly, it's Break Stuff by fucking Limp Bizkit, which is an amazing. It's just one of those days. You don't know that? No,
Maybe.
It's all about the he says, she says bullshit. Which, fun fact, Em and Dre are both in the video to that Limp Bizkit song because it was before they were beefing. That sent me through a loop when I was youthful.
Maybe if I like put my mind back in 2004.
But it's like, it's the kind of track when you're like fucking ready to go and whatnot. And then you get this chorus, so what's the deal, riders? Would you excuse me while I feel my nuts? My balls are feeling a mighty big now. I might just have to sit down and pull them through. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Eminem. Sometimes your hooks are just fucking trash. Like, sometimes it's like amazing. This song would have been a 5 if it had had a hook that or a chorus that was not this, because the verses ready to go, you know. Step into place with enough misplaced anger to catch a case, anxious to get in some shit. Got your gangsters with all your ladies. You better go get your mates, cause Shady said so. You may want to pick up the radio and bang it against your face, and that's how fucking rowdy you feel. Now you still want to grill. In general, it goes on like that for like pretty much the rest of the track. And I don't mean it like that in like a dismissive kind of way, but it has that tone and that energy, and I don't have a whole lot to interpret. It's just aggressive fucking pushing. In the third verse, though, he does bring up D12 at the end. You know, like, in the third verse is basically like dude spills a fucking drink, and that's like that triggers him, and he's ready to fucking go. And I'm like, okay. And he just like, it's like you just picture him looking around the club, ready to lash out at just anybody. And honestly, sometimes you have days where you wake up and you're ready to fucking go, and you kind of hope the person pushes you in line on the bus, and you fantasize about all the shit you would say if it went down. And then it happens, and you're like, excuse me, I'm sorry, because we're fucking Canadians, and that's what happens in Canada. But at the end of the day, He goes on this whole thing like you hit like a bitch, you scratch me with your nails open for that. You catch an open hand slap like a female like bap. In fact, I had the crowd smacking you themselves. Where's D12? I don't feel like doing this by myself. Come on. I'm like, hold up, Marshall. You spent the whole track talking about how you want to pick a fucking fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, start
Then
a
he needs
fucking
his
fight.
crew.
And then you're like, I don't really feel like fighting. D12, take care of it.
No, he doesn't want to do it by himself.
You're a little shit, Eminem.
He doesn't want to do it by himself.
Bring your people in.
Yeah,
like toy soldiers.
I mean, in high school, I was like Eminem. I always knew and was like friendly with all of like the bad girls or like, and not just girls, I guess. I mean, I was friends with like the badass girls and the badass guys, and kept them around in case ever, you know, there was some trouble a brewing. So you gotta have, you know, these people like, you know, you gotta have all your cards stacked up or whatever the expression. Not that anybody ever really wanted to beat me up because I'm pretty cool.
Debatable. I give this a 4.5 on 5. Like I said, I thought it was pretty great. It's a good song, and I kind of wish it was on Spotify. And I don't know why it's not. But neither this nor the next song are on Spotify. They're both like grayed out, like they got pulled. And if y'all know why it got pulled, that would be super dope. I did not have a chance to look into that yet.
Well, let's look into
Slaughterhouse.
Session 1.
Slaughterhouse minus JBZ.
Okay.
So I think it's crazy because in the last track that we just discussed, it ended in a way that left a lot of people wondering if a third D12 album was coming.
Mm-hmm.
The following track is Slaughterhouse, which is Joel Ortiz, King Crooked, or is it Crooked Eye or King Crooked now? I think it's Crooked Eye, but then he became King Crooked. It is also Royce da 5'9". Everybody loves it. If you haven't heard Book of Ryan, punch yourself in the face like Justin Hunt would say, because that shit's fire. And then it also features Joe Budden.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Joe Budden.
Yeah.
Guess who's not on this song? Joe Budden. And if you have not seen the hour-and-a-half tirade on the Joe Budden podcast of him ranting about Eminem, you will learn that you will never hear Joe Budden's verse. You'll never hear the verse that Joe Breezy was supposed to bring on this.
He is crazy on that video.
Do you guys watching this realize? So if we talk about the fact that like we're podcasters and he's a podcast, he's number one. That's not so. Joe Rogan, Joe Budden, number one, number two.
You should change your name to Joe.
Maybe if I was Joe Holden. Maybe. Hey, you guys think that would work? Joe Holden? Let me know in the comments. That'd be cool if you caught that, because that meant you were still watching all this time. But instead of getting D12, we get Slaughterhouse, and Eminem hypes them up, and it sounds like they're at like a live performance, and they're fucking ready to go. And I'm pretty sure that at this time, Slaughterhouse was opening for Eminem on tour, and that's probably how this just kind of came to happen. And then Eminem just fucking rips it on this one. I mean, you have to agree with me. Eminem does what the fuck he does. He ain't back for the sake of the scene. He's back. I could relax, but about to stack ammos on tracks, couple Xanax, light a couple wax candles, then blackout and relapse till I Jack Daniels. And now I'm like, where the fuck was this on this album? The multi-syllabic, compounded fucking wordplay. I'm like, hello. And it's got this crazy, great freaking beat. Just Blaze again. Just Blaze kills it. He just fucking flows it, you know, and then again calls out R. Kelly because you're in trouble, like R. Kelly is currently today. Apparently he's allowed out of jail like out, but he's only allowed one girlfriend at a time. That's an actual court stipulation for R. Kelly. Anyway, and he like flows it out like, what is it? Wordplay? No, I'm pushing you out the door. So suck my dick on the couch if you want a cushion to blow. Oh shit, no? He's pushing you out the door. I'm sucking dick on it. Oh, I'm just like, this is great lyricism. And to complete the bar wide stuff, because if you want to have cushion the blowjob, you're gonna have to suck his dick on the couch because you're still fucking hitting the pavement. Oh, it's really fun. Anyway, he goes on the whole way through, and I could just keep quoting fucking shit, and it's pretty much, from a bars perspective, one of the solidest verses M delivers on the entire Recovery project. And then at the end, he's like, Slaughterhouse in the house with the Caucasian to rap and just Blaze on the track. What the fuck's more amazing than that? I don't know, but I'll think on it and get back to you. I'm going to say, though, this is a good song. It's hard to say if on this album there's better than that. Slut, Answer Me That. I was trying Eminem, and then he called me a slut. Very rude.
Yep.
Royce, where are you at? What? I didn't get a chance to answer. I'm right here, Fire Marshal. That is my least favorite fucking line.
Yeah.
It's just like, you can just feel Royce's tongue in Eminem's ass. Like, you can just feel it
He's
going
on the couch, I'll tell you that much.
No, I'm not going to say shit about Royce da 5'9", because I really respect the man. And what they did with Bad Meets Evil is dope. We can also respect him, sucking up to M. But that line is just so kiss ass.
Yep.
It really, really is. But he also comes through and proves the rapper he is. Because I don't think people really give Royce credit. Like, Royce is a fucking ill MC. Like, ill to the point where I believe, like, he stands up next to Eminem, like, in an incredible way. And one of my favorite lines is when he goes, "Before I need to be hired, Jimmy, I'll fire Eminem." Now, that line's brilliant, right? Because before he needs to get a job or whatever, Jimmy Iovine. Mm-hmm. Jimmy I'll. And then Jimmy, I'll fire Marshall. Like, he'll fire Marshall before he needs to get hired. That's how fucking preposterous it is. Mm-hmm. But then Jimmy Iovine, I'll fire Marshall. It's just good, man. And then the 9 tucked against the line, and I pull it out and flip your partner upside down like y'all a couple 69ing. And I'm just like, he's killing it. It's like Rip James is shooting up your house. Fuck your couch. I'm just like, shit. And then he goes, and I don't know how this got on. I got a posse of insane clowns. Blow your brains out. And I'm like, did he just make it?
Of course he did. He's from Detroit.
But this is significant, right? Because, like, that doesn't sound like negative. That doesn't sound like beef. That sounds like everything's settled. That's why I thought it was significant.
Right.
It doesn't sound like a diss. Anyway, at the end of it, he's like, "Good day and good night. Ortiz, yo, where the fuck you at?" Joel Ortiz comes in, and he's like, "I'm right here in my night gears, Buzz Lightyears ahead of my Mike Pierce. Quite scary to look at a nightmare. Where my book's at, I write fear in the heart of you tight squares." I'll be honest with you, across the board, in my limited experience with the various members of Slaughterhouse, Joel Ortiz is my least favorite of the squad. And he's still, like, heads up again better than many, many others. I just don't like him as much. And even on this track, it's a little harder for me to be, like, going through and saying he's my favorite part. He's not. But he's also really good flow. And the way he contrasts to other dudes is fantastic. But, yeah, my favorite part of his is when he goes, "And record the pig's oink when I rip into his intestine. This isn't just an infection. This won't go away with penicillin injections. Millions of questions arose after they did an inspection." And I just thought, that was pretty dope. And then what he exhibits seems to be non-contagious. Anybody can get it.
He's talking about swine flu.
Yeah, with that. So he's breaking down how his flow and his lyrics and shit are ill and infectious the way an illness is. Mm-hmm. Even though it's non-contagious, as in it's not like an illness, anyone can get it because it's... And I was like, that's actually pretty fucking fire. So I don't want to say that Joel Ortiz does not spit proper and write proper. I'm saying he's just not my favorite of the squad. And then at the end, yo, where the fuck is Crook? Crooked Eye comes in, and I feel like he just fucking flosses in a way that none of the other ones floss. And it's different, but I'm equally as talented, right? Like, I'm right here letting the shotty pop. Quick as a karate chop. Get your body shot, get your top chopped like a lollipop. Call it Maserati, drop in the body shop. I'm like, that's the gangsterest shit on this song so far. That's the gangsterest shit on this album. Like, when did it get hard like that? But it did, because Crooked Eye is up in here. And then I take your life to the 9th inning. A knife in a gunfight, I love it, me and my knife winning. I laugh when you fall, the shit'll be funny. I'll buy my bitch a new ass and watch her sit on my money. I'm like, that's a fucking great line. Because the new ass cost him money, so when she sits, she's literally sitting on his money.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, it's not that great. I'm like, no, that's pretty fucking clever. It's just the way he comes at it. It's fucking proper. He's bilingual as Don. I kill with the tongue. I'm Attila the Hunt. I'm Genghis Khan. I'm a genius spawn. I'm like, it's fucking dope, man. And he's pulling history bars at you. And then he ends it with, because it's, to us, it's so easy. Where's Jump Off Joe Breezy? Nobody fucking knows. He's sitting on his couch with Maul and Rory these days. And Parker. Maul, Rory, and Parker. But yeah, no. You're just kind of wondering what happened to his verse, but it didn't come. And from what I understand, like they had this track ready to go, and then like I don't know, M came in and made changes and pissed off Joe Budden or something. Look, I don't really know. Joe Budden talked a lot of shit, but this is a 5-on-5. This is an amazing bar-driven, intense, great fucking experience.
Yeah, I mean, this one is definitely a bit more rock, and it feels more like live sounding, like what you kind of mentioned. The rhymes are all pretty decent, like all of the verses are pretty good. We'll just keep on coming back, like nothing can stop them, and M can't be stopped, more specifically. I mean, you kind of touch on all the Slaughterhouse crew and what they're up to, and it's definitely like a harder sounding fight song, which kind of makes sense considering I think the last one was a bit more like fighty as well. And there's definitely lots of energy on this one. It's pretty good for hyping yourself up or whatever. So I mean, it was not a bad song. I don't know, maybe just because it was like it went on a bit. So. Anyways, I gave it a 4.2 on 5.
All right, we did it.
We did it!
We got through all of it. It's 3 parts. This review's probably over 3 hours in total length. So it's time for the grades. It's time to wrap up.
Yep.
So I gave 2 grades. The first one is up until track 16 and the album proper, and then the second one is with all 3 bonus marks, and both grades turned out to be a 4.55. So I guess I ended up by accident with 1 grade, but the bonus tracks ended up being the same thing.
Making the same thing.
That never happened before, but that happened this time. I respect this album so very much and would absolutely call it a classic the more I think about it. And I think it's sonically a lot more fun to listen to, but has the depth of complexity of storytelling that we got on Relapse.
Right.
Because again, Relapse blew my mind for the composition and how the album's put together, the track sequencing, and the way it tells a story, the way a movie does, right?
Yeah.
In the same way, I think he accomplishes that goal again here on Recovery, but does it in a way where you want to listen to the songs. It's a lot enjoyable. However, it's less of an art project, but at the same time, I feel like it genuinely...
It's more like a therapeutic project.
Like, it continues the story of Relapse, but it ends up being a self-aware, I'm going to turn into a different person, as opposed to the way Relapse really went fucking insane with some of that stuff, the song Insane. But if you go check out our review of that, you'll get what we mean on the story elements of it, and I think he does it really well, and it makes me want to even revisit Revival just to see if that story element is brought in, because I wasn't aware of how deep his albums were. Like even now, like how much do we really miss on Marshall Mathers LP or Slim Shady's? Like how much do we miss? Did we not catch because we weren't like good enough? Or maybe those things weren't really there yet.
I think that's probably more it. I think that it's sort of...
I'm pretty sure Eminem's show, though, an encore may have possibly been. But I think...
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely themes to each of these albums that you're thinking of, but
I definitely think Relapse and Recovery have a clear, story-driven, track-by-track narrative from beginning to end that is meant to communicate to you his life story.
Okay.
And I think even with the original ideas for Relapse 2 would have continued that on with like a different take on it, but he ended up scrapping, I guess, the serial killer, blah, 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 psycho vibe to go into the I'm gonna be a fucking human and be like connecting with you in a more real way.
Yeah.
So it's almost like he took his walls down and his walls were still up and he was still scared on Relapse, but then he got real human with us in a way where I think many men, myself included, probably started to be more okay with becoming more human and being more emotional, we'll say, after seeing M do it, because we're all fucking inspired that much by him. When I was young, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So I like this album, but I like, from like an enjoyment point of view, I probably like about half the songs on the album, and the other half I could probably go the rest of my life and not hear again. On the other hand, if I look at it from like the story, from like the way it's put together, I respect this album a lot. Mm-hmm. But I don't enjoy it as much as I seem to remember enjoying it, except so it's like 5s and 4.25s, like that wasn't how it used to be, or when we did the other ones. So
Yeah, that's true.
maybe it's because I've gotten older or something, but I don't know.
Yeah, I give this one a 4.35 on 5, so it's 87%, which is pretty good. I mean, it's not bad, but I feel quite similarly. I mean, it is good if you're in a certain mood or if you are going through a recovery and you're needing something that's going to uplift you and kind of give you that energy and fight back to your life. It can help with that, because I think that it's relatable for people who are going through issues, and I think that that's really great. It isn't one that I would just like put on for enjoyment, so I'm with you on that. But there are some, when I say some songs, I really am just thinking about Love the Way You Lie with that I will listen to forever and ever. But the rest, yeah. Like, I mean, if I'm sad or whatever and I'm just looking for someone that, like, kind of can relate to me in some way, maybe I'd put on some of like the more emotional songs, but I probably never will.
You probably won't.
No. Yeah.
I've heard your playlist. You're never.
I've got my like sad songs from like when I was 15. I'll just go back to them if I need to.
But we've also got at this point so many Eminem songs, right?
Yeah.
And that it's also something to take into consideration is there's well over 100 M songs that when this album drops.
But
right?
definitely, I want to say because of this album, rest in peace, Proof.
Yeah. It's sad what happened there. But so thank y'all for watching. Totally appreciate you being here with us. It always means the world that you would stick through it. Feel free to leave any comments that you want related to this review, your experiences on recovery, the 3-part review format. Is that too much? I don't know. I don't know how to talk.
It was a lot for this one. So
well, here's the thing. The more
when
we do
feel
this,
like it,
the more I feel like we can talk about stuff. I don't know that it can get shorter because I can't.
You can't shut us up.
It's not that I can't know less, right? So it's because we've learned so much that these reviews take longer. It's not like our ignorance is kind of a little bit going away. The charm of the early episodes, I guess. Anyway, so let us know what you think. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. Like the video if you did. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Special thanks to the patrons, Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black Hurricane, Linda Williams, and Coney Sparks. They support what we do. Helped us get a camera. Helped us get on Spotify and Podbeam and iTunes and crap. That's right. They're all dope.
Everywhere.
We're going to be on the Squarespace soon because of them. That's right. www.behindthatsuit.com, which currently is a template that is really awful if you do go to that site right now. I do own the domain. It's just some bullshit that WordPress has. I'm gonna make it look nice proper soon. And then they also get to tell us what albums to review. That's the reward part. And you'll see Linda Williams' request next week, and so that'll be super cool. I also dropped an album. That's right, me, Holden Stephan Roy, dropped
Not
the
on the floor,
Alternative
but
Grind.
all over the internet.
That's true. The Alternative Grind. It's out on all your platforms. Check it out if you want to, and you can let me know what you think of that too. I'm super proud of that shit, and that's it. In the wise words of the Vulcans, live long and prosper.
Or live an average life and do
Nobody
okay.
listen to her.